And we are live with the one and only Jonathan Weiss. Welcome to A Book and a Beverage with Ro and that other grumpy guy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's Saturday morning for me. I've got a nice, rainy, relaxing day ahead of me, so I'm real happy.
And what's on your agenda today? Anything exciting? Other than
For
this,
me,
I mean, this has got to be the highlight, right?
it is the highlight. I
Yeah.
mean, look, I've entered in the self-published fantasy blog off just now. I was very surprised at how easy the entry process was. I thought it was going to be more complicated, and I thought I was going to need
So
more
glad to
time
hear
for
that.
it. It was a 2-minute form. But then after that, I'm just going to be working on some stuff with my Warhammer 40k collection. I've decided I'm going to have a weekend properly. I'm not going to do any writing stuff for once.
What?
Nice.
That's not loud.
Yeah,
Or at least
it feels like
you're going to feel guilty about it, right?
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, what do you do down there with? Now, whereabouts are you exactly?
So I'm Australian. I'm from a place called Wollongong. That's about an hour's drive south of Sydney. So still fairly close to everything, but without all the kind of hustle and bustle of the city.
All right. So what do you do on a weekend like this where you've decided you're not going to do any writing and you're just going to relax? What's relaxing to you? Dodging all the poison creatures or what?
Yeah, usually that. It's a big habit. Now, I was going to say, I'm really into bouldering. So you're indoor rock climbing without any ropes or harness. So if you fall off the wall, that's just you and gravity sorting it out afterwards. So I might go do a bit of that. But yeah, like as I said, I've got my Warhammer 2. I've got my tiny plastic army men that I like to build and paint up and play with other people. But otherwise, yeah, I might actually get around to a bit of reading. I mean, my dirty secret is that for an author, I don't actually read that much, which is pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah. So how many books have you published so far, Jonathan?
I am currently up
For Mike and I,
4 books published. Oh, go on, sorry.
Oh, no. For Mike and I, gravity works much more strongly against us.
Yes.
So things like rock climbing are not in our repertoire whatsoever.
Yeah, that's because you're in the northern hemisphere. Gravity's stronger here. We have ground harnesses here to keep us attached.
Yeah, it has a lot more to do with the fact that we're fat, but that's all right. Thanks for trying. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, back to your question, Mike. Yeah, so I've published 4 books so far. That's 3 novels and a novella. And I'm publishing across 2 different series that are set in the same world that are 30 years apart from each other. So it's been really fun going back and forth and like planting all these like little hidden messages and Easter eggs between them.
Nice.
You'll have to excuse me. I've been gone all day today, and I woke up from a nap like 5 minutes before this started, so I am not in the right headspace. Still kind of
that is A-okay. I've been there too. Like those naps are devastating sometimes.
So, Ro, this is your lucky day.
Is it? How exciting!
I have 2 lists of questions. I have the silly questions and I have the serious questions, and I have
roll the dice for the silly questions. Go full silly buggers on this.
Okay, silly question.
I like this new
That would
system.
be 10. Okay, Jonathan. If your book became a theme park ride, what would the experience be like, and what would it be called?
Well, this is. Oh, I've moved the wrong way. That is the theme park. So behind me is the main feature of my first published novel from Molten Flux. So that is a walking fortress of enchanted scrap metal. So I think the theme park would be this very kind of like magical Mad Max thing going on in there. You've got a whole motor pool, so you can have go-karts running out the back there. You've got a big long stretching forge room, so you can have like a little maker's room. You can make your own little magical contraptions and stuff too. And if you pay a bit extra, you can fire the big cannon that's over my shoulder on the front of the fortress there.
Nice.
When I was talking to the cover artist, I just said, just make the cannon as comically big as possible. Like it fires a shell the size of a car.
Yeah, but those exist, man. That's the real thing. It's called a battleship.
I know, right? It's great.
Yeah. I would go to that place, man. I would
be a great
down the admission for that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you said Mad Max because I saw the covers of your book and I'm like, he's Australian, and I'm like, how can you think anything other than Mad Max?
Exactly, that's what I'm going for. At the in-person markets I've been to, just that tone of orange gets my ideal audience just coming right up. It's great. But yeah, I love Mad Max. I'm really excited for Furiosa. I'm really keen to see it.
So this art is going to be on your book cover, or it is your book cover?
Yeah, so that is the book cover. So the
Do you have one made up
to...
with the title and everything?
Oh yeah, definitely do. So that's published. Do I have an image made up? Is that what you're saying?
Break out the book. Show us the book
Do
cover.
you have a book with you?
Do I have a book in front of me? Of course, I have a book in front of me. There we go. See if
there we go.
Hang on, I'll see if I can line it up with the. Oh, it keeps eating it, but you get the idea, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, so I've got those, and they've been really fun to write and kind of go through because they do lean a lot more into that Mad Max thing. There's a lot more fighting, battles, and gunfire and stuff there as well. And then the other series, the First Ithero series, that's a bit more like Dune, where it's getting a little more introspective. It's exploring the history of the world a little bit more.
And this is a trilogy?
So the Flux books, they're a trilogy. They're going to be 3. The Ithero books, they're going to be a set of 5. And I'm alternating releasing between them to make it extra confusing.
All right, okay. That's not necessarily a bad idea to do that, really. It keeps you kind of on top of your game, probably, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. It's good as well because it means that each book has kind of more time to brew in my head. Like I can flesh out the story a little bit more while I'm writing the other book as well.
Yeah. How long does it take you generally?
From start to finish, it's been about, I'd say, 9 months from inception to publish for books at the moment. Yeah, you're very right there, John. That is one of the inspirations, the Dune covers. So yeah, like I do write these things fairly fast. I used to be in tech sales, so I made enough cash there to be able to quit and write full time for a while. So basically, yeah, the first draft takes about maybe 3 to 4 months to knock out. The edits take another 3 months, and then sort of the pre-release stuff happens, and then yeah, book's out in the world, and I'm working on the next one already.
So you're a full-time writer now?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. And you're finding a pretty good market down there?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, again, the Mad Max stuff it is imbued in the Australian cultural conscious. We see orange and we like it. So yeah, it's been a decent market, and now I've got some more books out. I'm really starting to gear up the marketing game. Like I'm starting to wrap my head around the meta ads and stuff like that, and they're really taking off a little bit.
Is that how you do most of it? Is advertising, or do you do some in-person stuff? And if so, what kind of in-person stuff are you doing?
Yeah, so it has been the advertising lately online. That's been good, but the in-person stuff, I've just been going to like makers markets and stuff because my wife's an artist, so I've been going and helping them do all their markets. So I know how to do all the stuff for in-person selling, which is great. So being able to go to those and show off my books and get people to buy those has been something that's come pretty easily to me at this point. I don't take it too personally if someone walks on by or says they don't want it. Thankfully enough.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you can't do that, you're really screwed.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
Definitely in the wrong business.
Yeah.
So my first question for you is, why on earth did you choose writing? On all the things you could have possibly done that were fun, why did you choose writing?
Oh, I mean, I ask myself sometimes. I think I like the control of it. And it's kind of a similar reason I chose self-publishing as well, right? I like to be able to have the autonomy over every aspect of production. So I get to tell the whole story. I get to set the scenes. I get to choose what goes on the front and the back of the book. I get to choose how it gets put out into the world and how it's advertised and stuff. I had heard horror stories about people who, spent years querying traditional publishers and traditional publishing agents. And they got lucky. They signed a contract, and then the publisher just went, "Great, that'll be out in 2 years." Yeah. I couldn't afford to wait that long. I didn't want to wait that long, and I chose writing because it let me get a whole story out into the world without screwing around so much or waiting for other people to come back to me. when I was a kid, I used to be into stop motion animation, like, you know, your Wallace and Gromit style things. And I really like those. But yeah, it was a very slow glacial process to create those things because, you know, with stop motion, you're aiming to get 24 pictures a second. So you spend all day to get like 40 pictures and you've got 2 seconds of footage. So I didn't like creating stuff at that pace, but when I was writing, I can write a lot faster.
Hey, John here asked you, and I'm going to paraphrase this, but he asked about how many reviews you has. He's seeing that you only have like less than 5 reviews. Is that just US reviews? Do you have more Australian reviews?
Yeah, so most of the reviews live on Goodreads. Amazon's really weird about putting reviews up sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, unless you buy it from Amazon,
exactly,
a lot of times they won't accept it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit tough with that. And I think part of the other thing is that like just getting people to leave reviews is super hard. Like again, with self-publishing, like a lot of people say, "Oh, I'd love to read your book. I'd love to give it a review," and then they just never get back to you as well. And I think the other thing is that like I've been, you know, full on self-publishing since the start of last year, generally. And in that first year last year, I didn't really spend too much time promoting or advertising, and I kind of do regret it a little bit. But my main mission there was to churn out books as fast as possible, because a lot of the prevailing wisdom was advertising doesn't start to pay off. It doesn't start to be worth it until you've got multiple books out, because the idea is you can advertise the hell out of book one, someone will read that, and then they'll read through into the next couple books. So I think that, yeah, I do regret a little bit not advertising and promoting beforehand, because I know some people have done a really good job of like hyping up their first book and getting like, you know, a great bit of momentum there. But I feel like now I've got the multiple books out, I think people are going to get really keen to, there's, you know, something meaty to dig into. There's plenty of books to get to when they start.
And John Stevenson, so you know, if you go to Goodreads and check him out, he's got like 23, 24, 36 kind of reviews on his books on there. So
yeah, I promise they're good.
All right, Mike, what's the magic dice say?
Well, first, I was going to ask you, are you one of the break-ins?
Yes. Yeah, I was going to mention them. So the break-ins were the guys that I was kind of specifically calling out with building momentum. Like, you know, you got Adrian M. Gibson getting out there with Mushroom Blues and just making such a huge impact for that first book. Like, I'm really keen to see where he goes for the next one, like how big he's going to make it go, or even Caden doing the same thing. Like I saw a picture of Caden with Brandon Sanderson of all people, you know, so like they're really getting out into the world. And it does make me a little jealous not being in America where you're actually able to meet people like that, because a lot of the Australian publishing scene is really focused on like either horror or just simple crime thrillers or historical fiction. There's not a massive fantasy scene down here.
Okay, are we ready for another question?
Yeah,
I'm ready. So what's happening? Are you just rolling dice is this kind of like dice and they have the questions on them? Oh, lovely.
I have my little tower here. I roll my 20-sided die, and I have my list of questions here.
Fantastic.
What piece of writing advice do you completely ignore?
I love this one. I think I ignore a lot of the writing advice around actually planning out what you're going to do. Especially my own writing advice. So, you know, I'll come into a book, I'll have an outline, I'll have a plan. And then I'd say by the time I'm about halfway through writing the first draft, the book's looking nothing like the plan. The plan is basically, I think by the time I get to that point, what not to do manual. I have a philosophy of, you know, if I'm brainstorming something, I get out the worst idea first, because it kind of sets the bar and it gets your creative juices flowing. And then, you know, that's the idea that I need to top. And then you can just keep doing that until you get something better and better. So, like, for example, with Molten Flux back there, that first book, the end of it looked significantly different in the first outline as compared to what actually ended up happening.
Yeah, I used to be heavy outliner, and then my characters would be like, no, I'm not doing that.
They don't want to.
and you argue with them and you lose all these arguments
Yep.
with fictional characters, and it just makes you wonder why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically,
Yeah.
I only plan like the first act, and then I see what happens.
I do like 5 like beats that have to. I'm like, these will occur in this order, but how I get there, I'll just wait for my characters to tell me.
Yeah, nice.
Because they're bastards, every one of them.
Yeah,
I threaten to kill them, and it doesn't make any difference.
you can't do it.
I've killed plenty.
They know they have power over you, though. They know that they'll die with spite.
I've had people yell at me for the characters that I've killed, and I'm like, yeah, that's the revenge of the characters.
Yeah.
One said every single person she liked, I killed.
Oh no!
I'm
so
like,
did you lose them as a reader, you reckon?
I'm like, try to read book 2 anyway, will you please?
They might come back.
No.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh well.
So what kind of research do you do before you start building your world, or do you just go out in the outback and say, what do I see?
Yeah, red sand, thanks. Yeah, we'll add another pile of red sand. The research ends up being a bit weird. So I get not necessarily into like super post-apocalyptic. Like I get into some like post-apocalyptic things because it is in essence a post-apocalyptic world. But like a lot of it goes into the symbolism of stuff into it. So I mentioned earlier, there's this like buried ancient sci-fi civilization that wiped itself out. The way that the people in this world interact with them is by finding these ruins of buried skyscrapers that kind of lead down into the ground where, there's echoes of this radiation like magic lingering there where, nobody understands how it works. It's super dangerous, but there's cool stuff to kind of dig up down there too. So when I was designing that, I wanted to make them like a really creepy symbol. And like I stumbled upon a thing about long-term nuclear waste warning messages. So basically the idea that when we've got all this nuclear waste, it's taking 10,000 years to become quote unquote safe again. How do you stop people from messing it around? How do you stop people from finding it? And it was to create these really weird like spike field obelisks, or like just basically how you create these architectural bad vibes. So I used a lot of that when I was designing what those skyscrapers were going to look like in the books to kind of make them more eerie to the human eye, effectively.
Okay. Ro, do you have a question? You want me to continue? I have.
Yeah, carry on, man. Sorry, I'm zoning here. I'm
still shaking from that nap.
Well, it's so much going on this weekend. It's just ridiculous. So
yeah, nice.
So, what kind of feedback have you got from readers for your books, and have you got any critical feedback? And do you kill them in effigy now? Oh.
Sorry, what was that last bit?
And do you kill them in your next book if they give you critical feedback?
No, I don't. I do like critical feedback. Like I do enjoy like hearing how other people interpret stuff. Some of the feedback has just been like, can you expand on this thing more? I'd love to see more of this. And I've tried to do that in later books, which is, I guess, the benefit of picking up kind of a book from an author early while they're still making out the series, right? Because you can actually kind of have a bit of sway on how they come out. Yeah. But yeah, I don't begrudge feedback, and yeah, I do enjoy getting it. So if you do read them and you think there's something that could be done better, just let me know.
So I'm guessing this is because you came from sales, and so you hear no, you're like, okay,
yeah, it's
try
fine.
the next one.
Exactly, like just sales and writing, like you have to have a really thick skin for it eventually. Like I've been writing stuff for about 10 or so more years, so. Like I've had my fair share of rejections or, people telling me that stuff doesn't work or that stuff's just downright sucks. You get used to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the reviews here on Goodreads that you have for Molten Flux, and you've got 24 ratings and 24 reviews, which is pretty stunning in and of itself. And I think you've only got like 1 3-star and everything else is 4 and 5. And even the 3-star, I mean, if this is your worst rating and it says, love the concept and the world building, different from my usual picks, kept me hooked on the story, plot is fast paced, And that's your 3-star?
Yeah.
There's actually
That's
2
not bad.
3-stars, but I mean, you know,
There's a more realistic 3-star in one of the other books where like they say, you know, they didn't jive with the world, or, you know, they didn't get a certain concept. And like, fair enough, if, you know, you didn't get it, if it didn't come across to you, that's fine. But yeah,
right.
like I haven't had a big 1-star review yet. And I'm not saying that's an invitation for people to come out and give me that 1-star. I only do it if I truly deserve it. But yeah, I'm still braced to get that first like real smackdown. I think the rating I'm more afraid of is probably like a 2-star, right? Because a 1-star, you do that flippantly. A 2-star, you put thought into. If I get a 2-star, I'll be more devastated.
You know, I think you're right. Yeah, I knock knock don't have those yet either, but I don't have anywhere near the number of reviews that you have. And I've had that kind of perverse desire to see the 1-star just to see if you can use it for advertising purposes. Because I mean, quite often a 1-star is just so bizarre, you know, what they put there, that you could turn it somehow. But I think you're right. Yeah, I never thought about it. Thanks. I won't sleep now for that. But a 2-star would be
2-star's the scary one.
A 2-star would be pretty awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
No problem. I've given you a new fear.
I don't. My self-esteem is on eggshells anyway right now. So what the hell? Let's just add to it. That'll be fun.
Yeah, just rip the Band-Aid off.
So, Jonathan, after these 2 series, are you finished with this world? Are you writing something else? Are you going to write romantic comedies? What's up after this?
Maybe a romantic comedy would be good. Hang on, I'm just gonna fool around with my background a little bit. I've made a series roadmap, and I'm gonna see if I can get it thrown up behind me.
A romantic comedy between 2 of the people that have to go outside on that pile of stuff and fix it. You know.
Well, that's closer to the truth than you realize. So yeah, I haven't necessarily done anything romantic wise. I don't think I ever would. I think everything's gonna stay set in this world for a good while. But I think until wait, hang on, that's the wrong one. Give me a second. I'm just trying to fill time. I think until I'm done with this world, I've got about 14 books planned.
Man.
I'm not really gonna leave it, right? And I think when I am actually done, I don't know what I'm going to do afterwards. Hopefully, you know, the cash is rolling in enough that I don't actually need to do anything in particular. So here's the roadmap. I'll try and get to the side a little bit more. So we're starting over here on, I don't know. Yeah, over here. I was going to say left or right, but I've lost track of myself at this point. So Rising Flux with the novella over there. Molten Flux was the one behind me before. And then I started alternating between these 2 series here. And then next year, I'm actually going to chuck a new series into the mix. And it's going to get really complicated the year after that because I'm going to be writing 3 series at once, effectively. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that looks like a mess. I mean, it's a very organized mess, right?
It's a flow chart, so it's wonderful.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that, Mike.
Do you have...
Oh, go on, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, do you have like a Bible or somewhere where you have like facts like, what color eyes do my characters have, so that you don't, you know, change their eyes or hair colors or whatever midway through?
I should. I've made attempts at it, but there's just so much shit that like either is constantly changing or like stuff that I don't want to nail down in the future that I can't actually figure out a way to kind of get it all organized. So a lot of it just stays up top. So yeah, I think that there's going to come a time where it'll bite me in the ass. I haven't written myself into a corner yet, but I'll get there. You know, I think something will happen to me eventually, and people can call me out for that when it does.
I hear you with that. I mean, I've started the book Bibles as well. You know, started a series with the best of intentions with a book Bible, and you get 2 screens going, and you're going over to this screen to do something, and then it's like, okay, now I got to go back over here and start writing again. And after a while, it's just like, fuck it, I know what I'm doing.
It's exhausting. Yeah, it just eats up so much time and effort.
So I'll tell you what I do is I don't do my Bible until, well, right now, Ro is my line editor, and he's editing my book that's going to come out.
He's supposed to be.
Yeah. So now that I have this dead time, I go through and I'm like, okay, what are all the characters? And give me a 1 or 2 sentence so I know, you know, who they are, what their names are. In my fantasy series, the niece of my main character, her name starts with a B. It's Bertha or Birgit or Bergen, I cannot remember, and I'm the one who gave her the name. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, you know what? I'm writing it down. She's a minor character who'll get mentioned once per book at most, but I don't know her name, and I don't want to give her 6 different ones. So it's more like
track of that, yeah.
Once the book is, the story's done, and it's just I have to pretty up and use adjectives, which I pretty much avoid until that point. It's like just who are all the people, where are they at, who are so that if I have to refer back to who is that person in this place, that's when I make my Bibles up, and I keep saying I'm going to combine them all into one master. I have not.
Oh God, it's so hard, right?
Yeah. So I might very well
I've been trying to do it in OneNote, and it just gets too big for it. It's ridiculous.
So if I can go backwards a little bit with this and with the break-ins, how did you come into that group, or did you start it, or?
Yeah, so I didn't start it. I was one of the later additions to it. So that it was the brainchild between Josh Walker and Scott Palmer, I think. I think it was Scott. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Scott. But anyway, yeah, they started that, I think, in December of last year. Just kind of as an idea of like, all right, we got a group of ourselves, we're all debuting, we're going to big each other up, we're going to get some group momentum here, because otherwise we're just out here on our own. We need people to talk to kind of get ideas from each other. And I saw Rob Lee posting under the hashtag of the break-ins, and I'm like, is that an author group? I could do with some friends. So I just reached out to Rob and I said, hey man, can I get in there? And yeah, they let me in, and shortly after that, they decided we've got enough people, and I just narrowly missed the cutoff effectively. So there's about 15 of us in total. And some of us still have books coming out, which is really cool, and some of us, like me, already have a couple books out. But the long and short of it is we've only, all of us, been publishing for about a year or so. So we're all still amateurs in the game, but it's just been a really great way to combine knowledge and kind of work together on stuff and big stuff up, which has been great. Like I've seen other people getting, like Tim says, like getting their own author groups going like this. I don't know if we're going to actually start serving as a model for some people, but if we do, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool. If maybe Mike, we should try to find friends too.
So I in other places, I've told people that I want to start a group and call us the Broken Downs.
Right.
But no one's moved to join yet. So
we're
all broken down.
Yeah.
That's great. No, I endorse that. We can be the cousin groups. We can have vague allyships.
We can have reunions in Vegas. Woohoo!
Yeah. Never been to Vegas.
So I think that you guys, the break-ins, once everybody has their book out, you need to have like your own competition on Twitter where come vote for the books, or have 16 books and do a tournament to have one winner.
That would be interesting, right? Like,
oh, dude,
yeah, I think. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, you just hit it, Mike. You do this, damn you! You have good ideas.
Oh, it's very rare.
We open it up to 64 books, and we do a March Madness type of bracket.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, well, once we've all kind of got like 60, like enough books out, so we can chuck in 4 each, and then do a bracket. That would be really, really funny.
Or we could just have the break-in on one side, and one of the 4, and have. No, I don't know. Put all the break-ins separate out. Just be 4 break-ins in the final 4, and
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, there's some real quality books out there. Some people are going hard out there. Like, I think that, like, you see it a lot with people kind of getting big successes off the Kickstarters. I think that's kind of the main way to kind of get a big launch at the moment. So I'm looking for, I keep getting mixed up, for book 3 in the Flux series up there. If I don't lose my finger, I'm looking at doing a Kickstarter for that, for like special editions of the whole series,
nice.
With hardcovers and all the good stuff. Maybe even an audiobook if I can swing it.
You're at a bit of a disadvantage, because if you do a decent Kickstarter and get some input from the US and Europe or whatever, you've got a mail ship from Australia.
Yep. And oh God, it'll cost a lot. Yeah, like
all your stuff, you got to make it weigh like less than 10 grams.
Yeah, see, that's a problem, because like I've printed on 50 GSM for the paperbacks as well. So each book weighs about 600 or 700 grams. So yeah, I think anyone who backs that Kickstarter, if they're in the States, they just got to be ready for some pretty hefty shipping prices, which I hope will be worth it. You know, like if you're buying a whole set of hardbacks, like you're going to be paying heavily for shipping anyway.
Right. And I think most people understand shipping, and they're not, they know that's not going to you. Obviously, it's shipping.
It's going to the postman.
It
Yeah,
is what it is.
I don't know. I'm going to find other ways to get like fun freebies or other things into that package that don't weigh too much to hopefully make it work.
Digital content is probably a way
digital content, prints or something, maybe just stuff like that.
Yeah,
I can tell you, as someone who's shipped all over the world, that it's about half the price to ship to Australia as it is to Europe, which makes no sense whatsoever, other than bureaucracies.
Really?
Last time I shipped to Netherlands, it was $80 to ship 4 books.
Oh God!
And I told the one, they said, "I want your books. Can I get them? How much is shipping?" I said, "No, shipping's included." And then she's like, "Okay, great. I'm in the Netherlands," and I'm like, "Oh dear."
Oh
so, yeah,
no! You said shipping's included for the net. Oh no! That's not good.
I said $80 for the 4 books, and I paid $88 in shipping. So negative $8. Woohoo!
Jeez, that hurts.
But that's okay. She's going to leave reviews and have fans all over the Netherlands that I can't afford to ship books to.
That's right.
Do you ever look at like, is that like just shipping from you, or you? Because like what I've done, if I've been trying to send books to people in America or Europe, is with Ingram Spark, the book printer. I've just been printing directly from them and having it sent straight to them.
Yeah, that's what I did for Australia, and it was cheap. But the books I had, I wrapped them in maps, and I had like a wax seal on it. So that has to come from me. So I did not know she was from Netherlands. When I said free shipping, I thought I was going to send it, like to Texas and pay like $10 shipping, and no, it was $88. So
jeez, that's rough. Yeah. That's why I can't really send out like really nice review packages, because the shipping's just too exorbitant. Like if there's any Australian reviewers listening, hit me up. I can do that. Otherwise, you're out of luck. You just get book. You're probably just going to get an EPUB. It's nice EPUB though. I've like put chapter symbols and stuff in it. It looks nice on the inside.
If I ever vacation in Australia, I'll tell you what my hotel address is, and you can ship me something there.
Sounds good.
I just need to, win the lottery or something, then be able to quit work and do that.
Get to Australia. Never mind that it's freaking enormous. Now,
that too.
You're on the southeast coast, right?
That's it. Yeah, and that's where most people
almost
are.
All of the people are.
Yeah, just about. Like it's either between Sydney and Melbourne. That's about half of Australia's population already.
Right.
There's a lot of people up in Brisbane. That's further north on the east coast, but like that's about it. Like I love that it's a huge country. I love that there's just those big barren stretches of nothing, and that's again what's kind of inspired me to start writing in such a desert type of setting, like just those endless plains of red sand. But yeah, there's not a lot out there sometimes.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, you could actually be writing something that's not quite as fictional as you think. I mean, who knows what people could be doing out in places like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a big place. Plenty of stuff left undiscovered. You
could be moving into, some type of, for God's sakes, thriller fiction.
Yeah.
With big bad government agency, black agency kind of overtones.
Oh, that would be too bad. I mean, look, we've got Pine Gap out there, which is kind of like, it's not quite our Area 51, but it's where all the spy stuff happens out there in the middle of nowhere, because we just got all those big satellites and stuff.
Every country needs a place like that.
Yeah. Place you're not allowed to go.
Or
unknown people doing unknown things at an unknown cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the U.S. will come and build one if you don't want to build your own,
Yeah, honestly.
Well, I think we have it's not a base, but we've been deploying some stuff up on your northern border, right? Up around.
Oh, yeah. Chucking stuff down on Darwin. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have some B-52s and stuff up there.
Yeah, I think you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I haven't been up there. I'm not looking at that stuff. Just letting the FBI know I'm not a danger.
No, that's all stuff that you can find on the press. I have no special knowledge of any of that. It's all,
Yeah. Perfect.
And if the FBI is watching, hit us a like and subscribe, will you?
Yeah, that'll give us some
Everyone else
legitimacy.
Because we're eight from going up to 200, and we really need your help there, FBI.
Yeah, nice.
We'll even take bots at this point.
Oh yeah, we're not proud. That's fine. Just get us to the number, man.
Yeah.
So, who did your book covers?
Yeah. So you can find them at kfrancis.art on Instagram. So they do a whole bunch of other really cool post-apocalyptic art. Like I found them because they were doing their own kind of like sort of British post-apocalypse world building series with some other really cool art of like I don't know, imagine if like 1970s or 80s Britain kind of had its own apocalypse and kind of everything went to hell, which I mean they had Margaret Thatcher, that was the apocalypse for them. So yeah, it's good, Tim. So yeah, like that was a really cool series, and like I've been working with him on just about all the covers as well. I had someone different do the cover of the novella of Rising Flux, and they were good, but yeah, they had to drop out because they had other commitments, and that's how I found K. Francis, and they were awesome, honestly. Like yeah, and they still are. Like they've got the book cover for the second High Theroux book done, so that's number 2 over there. So that's going to have a cover reveal in a little under a week, and we're working on the third Flux book over there now too. So really excited to show those off. And yeah, obviously more inspiration coming from Mad Max. We both love that shit. Same thing with like the Stalker video games, if you've ever played them as well. Just really, I don't know, we're just really in sync with stuff, so that's why I love working with them.
Are they Australian?
No, they're British, so they're
British?
from the UK. So
I guess
time zones are fun.
Yeah,
It's great though to get that kind of relationship with the folks doing your covers and everything. It's kind of important, really, to have someone who can not read your mind but understand where you're going with it.
Yeah, they get the vibe, and like especially with again like this many books to fill out. Like I want someone who's A, gonna have gotten the vibe, and B, like is gonna be able to work with me for a while, because I'd hate to have to keep switching cover artists like up between them. And like as much as I'd love to kind of knock out all the book covers at once, like I still have no idea what some of them are going to end up looking like. I've no kind of concept of what they need to be.
So what's a writing day / week look like for you as some, because most of the folks that we talk to have proper jobs. Well, okay, they have jobs that pay the bills, whether or not they're proper jobs.
Yeah, that's a better definition.
Yeah. So what's it look like for you if this is your full time? This is what you're doing to eat money.
Yeah, so it depends on whether I'm trying to pump out a first draft or not. So if I'm in first draft mode, a lot of it goes straight into writing itself. Like I'm going to aim for like a good 3,000 or so words a day. That's usually a full chapter for me. I know there's some people out there who can ping like 10,000 words in a day, and there's plenty of like 99-cent ebooks on Amazon telling you, here's how I get 10,000 words a day. I'm not going to write one of those. I find that like my brain turns to mush after about 4,000 or 5,000 words, so it's not worth it. So yeah, a lot of the day will be dedicated to writing if I'm in first draft mode, and then the rest of it is either like upkeep on social media stuff or advertising stuff, or just trying to network a bit there. If I'm editing, then I can edit a fair bit faster. So I'll either be coming through the book for my second draft, or I'll be going through what I've gotten back from my developmental editor or the proofreader, and I'll be putting a lot more effort into the social media and the advertising and the book selling stuff as well. And kind of on the side of that, I'm also looking out for like in-person events and stuff I can do. So in June next month, I'm going to be able to go. I'm going to be selling books at the Supernova convention in Sydney, which is like the big Australian nerd group convention. So I'm going to be there with Josh Walker and Louise Holland. We're going to be stuffed into a booth together to be like the break-ins contingent for Australia, to hopefully kind of show that look, we're all here. Please buy some books.
I mean,
so yeah, a lot goes into it. Like it's all writing most of the time.
do you just do the one thing a day, or do you break up your day? It's like, okay, I'm going to write for 3 hours and do, social media stuff for an hour and something else for 2 hours. Or do you just say, hey, I'm going to focus on advertising and that's it?
Yeah, it depends on how hot I'm running on whatever that thing is. Like if I'm writing and I've like got the momentum to keep going, maybe I'll write like 6,000 in a day. I'll write 2 chapters in a day, which is great. But generally I'll aim for like, I'll hit that 3,000 words and then I'll just start doing other stuff. Like that's just the number one priority. I need to get like either chapter out or I need to hit my editing goals for the day.
And what are your books running word-wise?
Word-wise, it seems like I'm standardly aiming for about 125k words, which again isn't like I know there's people out there going, yeah, cool, I've got a 400,000 word tome. I could never do that because like that just seems like too much of a book to wrangle. So yeah, I think that I did originally go into this aiming for like 90k per book, but like every time I've attempted that, like I was saying before, like I'll get to the halfway point, the outline's gone out the window, and I just keep going. So 125k seems to be kind of about the sweet spot I've been settling into.
That's not too bad. I mean, so I mean, if you can comfortably do a first draft then in a month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, effectively, like as long as there's nothing else getting in the way, I'll usually do that. And like sometimes the first draft gets put on hold because I'll get the edits back for another book. So, it's good thinking time because like, I'll get about like 40 or 50,000 words into the first draft. I can put it on hold and start figuring out how the second half of it looks while I'm editing the other book that's come in.
So Michael Schulteis here said Scrivener makes character Bibles easy. Have you ever used Scrivener?
I've looked at it. I've made a decision around like adding too many accessories to things. I've made a decision against it because it tends to eat up a lot of energy because it's just like, here's another thing to manage. Here's another thing you got to do. Like a lot of my note taking happens like just with a pen and paper. I've just got a whiteboard over in the corner as well that I use just for note taking and stuff. Cause like there's nothing complicated about it. You don't need to create like new subfolders or new tag groups or anything crazy like that. You just write it on the whiteboard and file it away somewhere and figure it out later.
Mike, you look like you're ready to say something there, man.
So my next question is, if it comes to writing, editing, or marketing, what do you like most and what do you like least? And all the above is the correct answer for what you like least.
Yeah, I was going to go with that. I think editing is the one I like least because it's so tough. I hate editing, especially when it comes to like trying to rewrite scenes because I like having to go in, pull out a chunk of a book and then put in something new and then wire it up to everything else. Just, it's so hard and painful. Like I feel like I'm doing surgery on myself without anesthetic whenever I'm doing it. It sucks. Like Molten Flux was this one was the hardest one to write because that was a book that I'd been writing on and off for a while and it got drastically changed well after the first draft had been done. So I had to go in and pretty much remove about the entire middle third of it and put in an entire new middle third. And then I had to wire up the entire last third to kind of get that all plugged into everything. So I'm always scared that someone's going to read Molten Flux and they'll see all the Frankenstein-like stitches between things. But I mean, if you can spot them, good on you. But I think they're pretty well hidden. They're healed scars by now, effectively.
So editing is actually my favorite. I hate the other two.
Really?
Yes.
I love writing, man. Like I'll put on my Smashing Pumpkins albums. I'll just vibe very hard for like 4 to 5 hours. And I'll just kind of wander around in my office after that, just kind of in a daze from what I've done. I love writing so much.
So I've always found making something better is a whole lot easier than looking at a blank page and making something appear. So editing for me is the easiest.
Wrong.
No, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
I also pay Ro to do this, so that's part of it.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably
like writing more.
making it easier.
And marketing sucks.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we can all agree on that. Like marketing's a necessary kind of suck, right? Like it's something that has to happen. But
it's necessary for you because you need to eat.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, I still want the books to be successful as well, right? Even if I didn't need to eat. I think that marketing got a lot easier when I realized, like, you know, as far as like keeping up the social media day-to-day stuff, you can really put any old shit up there. Not to denigrate what other people do with social media. There's some other people doing great content, like, you know, again, to reference the break-ins, Caden did, like, he made a specific account to put up book talk or bookstagram type of reels or videos, and he just smashed out, I think, hundreds of them. Like, there's so many he's put up there about going, you know, his top 5 books for this, his, like, you know, best books for that, just so much of that stuff. And he got like 1,000 followers in the space of like a week or something. I don't know if I'm even exaggerating at that point. But yeah, like, you just doing a lot of social media stuff, just posting something every day or every 2 days, it's just better than nothing. So as far as that side of marketing goes, that's great. As far as doing appearances like this, jumping on other people's shows, I love doing that. I love being in person with stuff. I love just going live and talking out my ass. But yeah, I'd say, yeah, just the trying to figure out how ads work, that's probably the hardest bit of marketing for me. Like, it took me a while to figure out meta ads. That was with the help of some of the other break-ins as well. I think I've got a couple working now. I'm just afraid to increase the budget and start breaking them again.
Yeah, I agree. This kind of stuff is fun, and you can do this all day, right? I think there's a generational split with the social media part of it, right?
Yes.
Because folks, Mike and my age, we're happy to put out something on social media if it is something, right? But put out something just for the sake of putting out something
feels wrong, right?
Which is kind of necessary, right? We get that logically, but it really kind of goes against the grain of really almost how you're brought up to do that. Just like, who gives a shit, you know? Why am I putting this out there, you know? So that's actually kind of difficult to sit there and say, I've got to post something today, but you know what, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, anybody who can do what you described, that's brilliant. But how long can you realistically
keep it up, right?
And how much, you know, bandwidth is that eating up of things that you could otherwise be doing?
Yeah, and like, that's why I didn't really do that much marketing the first year, because I was just so focused on getting books out in the first place. Like, again, like, the publishing schedule I've set for myself has me putting out a book every 5 months or so, which is just so hard to keep up with. But, you know, again, that's the game. I want to see how many books I can actually get out there and get done before, like, you know, again, I need to start making hard choices about the budget, right?
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking.
That's okay.
I'm on
I
mute.
mean, for me, it's summer, so I mean, I could, like, every third day put out, hey, my dog killed something else and brought it inside and left it for me. But, you know, how many times do people want to hear that?
That's a good point. One of the things my wife told me, because again, they've doing their own thing as an independent artist. They said that, like, the way that Instagram and Facebook works is that because all your stuff's getting shown algorithmically, it's not every time you post, it's not going out to everyone. Like, maybe 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 of your followers are actually going to see what you post. So putting out like 3 posts in the space of a couple of weeks that are pretty much the exact same thing probably isn't going to get that much crossover on the people who have already seen the other posts, right? So you can be fairly repetitive with your social media stuff, and it won't actually be something that anyone picks up on unless they go specifically to your profile and read through every single post that you have. So if you are saying, you know, my dog's killed something and brought it in again, you can post that a couple times before everyone's seen that. And I'd say that's pretty funny. That's good content because it's, you know, real stuff. Like, I found that the more I post pictures of myself, the more selfies I do, or like the more kind of genuine stuff I do. Like, I've posted videos of me doing rock climbing and stuff. Like, people get into that because they like seeing a genuine person. Like, they're not here just to look at a bunch of pictures of book covers. Like, they'd rather just see a genuine person doing stuff.
They're waiting to see you fall, man. Let's accept people for what they are. That's what they're there for.
I got a video of one last night where I almost do where I almost do fall from like 3 meters up. So people love that.
Oh, see, I'm just thinking, what would I break if that happened to me?
Every
Yeah.
damn thing.
Other than my pride, but that's already been broken.
Yeah.
I have already broken my arm over the course of this. Like I broke it in the middle of last year. Like I broke my right hand, which is the main hand for me because I'm right-handed for stuff. Right, I think about a day or two before Bond Flux came out. So anyone that got signed copies from me got a left-handed signature, which was
nice.
much messier. So that's a very special edition.
Yeah.
I got bad news for both of you young men. There will come a point in your life, and it will come upon you sooner than you ever want it to, where you know that if you let go with a good sneeze, there is a pretty good probability that you're going to pull something.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, no.
Sneezing at some point in your life starts to become a gamble.
It's a hazard.
It really is. It's just freaking nuts. And to
That's
Mike,
terrifying.
if your dog is bringing in stuff, you could do a wheel like what's Fido brought me today, right? And you can just keep adding things. That would be cool as hell, actually.
Possum.
Yeah, that would be
Usually
great.
a possum or a mole.
Yeah. We used to have kitty cats. We come in, the first cats we got when we got married, we had a little cat door, and we had 3 little cats in England. And we'd open the door, and there'd be like a blood streak lead. So we had to follow this line of blood, and we'd find like these decapitated baby bunnies.
Oh,
no.
In
the bathroom or whatever, and our freaking little murderous cats,
yeah, they're hazard, aren't they?
Yeah, they're vicious little bastards.
So I have a random question to ask you, Jonathan. One of my favorite animals of all time is the platypus. Are there platypi where you're at in that part of Australia? No.
They are the shyest creatures you have ever encountered. Like it's almost like you need to do a ritual to find one. So they only really exist in rivers and waterways. So in like specific ones, right? And because they're really shy creatures that have their burrows pretty much either on the waterline, like, again, like I think the burrow length before you get to the actual nest is about 20 meters sometimes. Like you're never going to see them. Like I think I know someone who saw one. That's about as good as I can get. Like what's more common is birds, and like I'm a huge bird nerd. I'm a huge fan of birds. So like you've got sulfur-crested cockatoos, where they're these big white parrots that have a scream that tears the sky in two, and you'll see flocks of like 40 or 50 flying over suburbia in the neighborhood at about sunset, just screaming their lungs out as they go to bed. And like, I love it. Like you got those rainbow lorikeets live up to their names. They have every color of plumage as well. I've even got 3 budgies at home. They're my pets. I don't know if the microphone's picking them up, but they're going ballistic right now because it's raining, and they love it when it rains because it means it's breeding season. But yeah, like I wouldn't worry too much about the land animals. If you're coming to Australia, if you're worried about getting assaulted by something, worry about the birds. The birds are vicious. If you look it up, you can see videos of cockatoos just tearing houses apart for the hell of it. It's great. I think last year there was a cockatoo that like got onto someone's balcony in the city and just started hurling the pot plants on there, just down onto the pavement, just for the hell of it.
Well, if you leave it there, that's on you. If you
exactly. Cockatoos are the main hazard in this country, I think.
A platypus then is kind of like a fantasy author in that it comes out occasionally in very specific places, but otherwise is very hard to find.
Yeah, and we also have venomous spurs in our feet, so be careful if you get kicked by fantasy authors.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, platypuses. They have venomous spurs. They are the most bizarre creature. There's a story that when they first sent a taxidermied platypus from Australia to England, the people who received it thought it was a joke. They thought someone was just sewing a duck onto a beaver.
The only platypus I've ever seen is Perry the platypus.
I mean, it's not far off from the reality.
Huh?
It's not far off from the reality. That's how they are sometimes.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, from Phineas and Ferb.
Right. Okay, good.
No, I have no idea. But
you've never seen Phineas and Ferb?
No,
You're
I
missing
hate
out.
cartoon. I hate animation. I will not watch any animation.
Boo!
After
What's
the third
wrong with you?
season of The Simpsons, I stopped all animation.
You stopped the third season of The Simpsons?
Yeah, back when I still had hair.
Look, okay, everything prior to 1990 is fine, right? The old Looney Tunes stuff and all that.
Yeah.
I even
Phineas
like
and Ferb is excellent.
It is
Pinky
excellent.
and the Brain is superb.
Yeah.
There is an exemption for that. I did like Pinky and the Brain. In the
Walter Johnny
Animaniacs.
is technically animation, so you gotta sign up for that too.
Okay, nothing this millennium. How about that? I can
And Calvin and
confidently
Bob's,
say
of
that.
course, is
How's
classic
Moving
literature.
Castle? You gotta watch the Studio Ghibli stuff, man. That's good animation.
Actually, that is pretty good. Some
Howl's
of it,
Moving Castle is amazing. Again, Howl's Moving Castle. Guess what? Inspiration there too.
Yeah. My son is really into Studio Ghibli, and the first time I sat down, because I am not an anime guy, my first reaction is just to kind of recoil from it. But yeah, some of that actually is pretty good. It's decent storytelling.
I think Howl's Moving Castle always threw me because, like, in the English dub, they're like, they got some huge names for it. They got Christian Bale voicing one of the main characters.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that?
Throw enough money at it, you can get anybody.
It was worth it. He was great.
Well, you got to think animation, though. If you're just voicing, that's easy. Yeah.
I recommend Howl's Moving Castle at the very least.
I'm trying to figure out what language that is you're speaking. Is it anime? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I don't know what anime is. It's just all cartoons to me. So.
You are not a man of culture, Mike. You're missing out on some of the good stuff.
Oh, Mike. Oh, you are just stereotyping the hell out of your people, Mike. Give them a chemistry set and let them be. And
yeah. Just it's engineer brain. That's it.
Yeah, good God, man. All right. Roll your dice, Mike.
Oh,
go from the goofy list.
Okay, I just want to tell you, Jonathan, when I was in college, way back when in the Stone Age, they let me go and register our intramural volleyball team. And so they're like, okay, what's your team's name? And I said, we're the Fighting Platypi. And they never let me pick the team name again after that.
Oh, that's the best honor, though. So bad you're not allowed to do it. That's what I love.
Okay, if you have a mythical creature as a pet, which one would you choose and why?
A platypus.
Platypus.
It's not mythical.
I mean, it almost is, right? I want to go with a phoenix because I like birds. I already have birds. Having a bird that can literally cause fire is pretty cool. And also, it's a bird that constantly reincarnates, so you're not bracing yourself for the heartbreak at the end of its life.
That's true, but you got to go through that baby bird stage again.
Oh, but I love that.
Oh, okay,
it's so good. It's so cute.
I don't know, man.
I think
birds just birds got to go when they got to go, and it doesn't matter who they're over or what they're on.
No, it's all right. I mean, I guess I'm a bit jaded by my budgies because, like, they pretty much only eat seed and like grass and stuff, so their droppings are pretty non-hazardous.
Budgies aren't phoenixes, man. Phoenixes are big.
That's true. I do know people down here who do have macaws, like full,
yeah,
or like that, or like African greys, and like those things are crazy because, like, you get one of those, they're gonna live longer than you. They're gonna live for 80 years or so. Like, you have to put that into the will for who's gonna look after that bird after you go, because that's how long those things live. And yeah, their droppings are slightly more devastating, like that, or like people who have cockatoos as pets. So like, yeah, those soft-crested cockatoos I was talking about earlier, the ones that scream and tear apart the sky. People keep those in their houses. They have them as pets. I don't know how they do that.
They deserve everything that's coming their way.
It's so friggin' loud. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. Like, I think my budgies are bad, but like, yeah, I think the people with cockatoos, they've lost their eardrums. They're just blown out by the sound of the screams,
So here's a dumb question that is totally unbook related. So we all have that one relative, right? And we all know who they are. I think countries are probably pretty much the same. So like here in the United States, we have Florida. What do you have?
I think, yeah, it's not necessarily. So Florida is a very specific genre of people, isn't it? Like, it's not
Florida
just
man.
like this is a rural person. This is not.
I used to live there.
It's not a farm person. Yeah, Florida is like Florida man, right?
Yeah.
I
a man in Florida. You know, add in your Darwin Award story here.
I think Florida is far north Queensland, so right up on the northeast side. In the state of Queensland, you've got far north Queensland, and like when they say far north, like again, like you guys are probably aware of how big Australia is. Far north Queensland is pretty much its own country for how far away everything is, and our Florida man, kind of main Florida man out of that is one of our members of Parliament. I think he's a man called Bob Catter. He's an independent politician, and he's much loved by the local community. And I like him too. He knows what he stands for. He's got some pretty great values. I can't vote for him because he's too far away, but at the same time, he's also got a couple backwards ones. But you take what you can with it. But yeah, I mean, every now and then he just goes on these absolutely insane rambles that are like I'm on the verge of laughing already. That are just hilarious. Like when we had a mail-in plebiscite, kind of a sort of semi-referendum on same-sex marriage, and that passed. He was initially one of the people who was against it, but he was fine with it passing, and he gave a speech, which, and I'm going to do my best impression here. He went, "Well, I'm fine for people to have their proclivities. Let's let 1,000 blossoms bloom." And then he just changes. He goes, "But I ain't wasting any more time on that, because every 3 months, someone's eaten by a crocodile in far north Queensland." It was just that sudden change. And if you see the video, you'll see his face just twist up as he starts thinking about the crocodiles again. So yeah, I'd say that's as close to where Florida is getting. We've got big prehistoric lizards. We have swamps. We have devastating temperatures, and we have people saying the strangest of things.
So, I mean, is that the key then? You've got to have big prehistoric lizards. So, like, you guys have your Queensland with crocodiles, and we've got Florida with alligators. And
I think that is like the key. Like just being around what's as close to a dinosaur as you can be. If you're around that a lot, it just changes people. Like I think that's the only thing I can
makes
think
you
of. Like
kind of a caveman.
So I have a follow-up question.
Oh, yeah, go on.
So in Florida, there's all kinds of pictures where people jump in the water and start wrestling alligators. Do people do that with crocodiles there too, or do they get limbs taken off?
I believe you've heard of a gentleman named Steve Irwin. May he rest in peace. That was our national export for a good time.
Yeah,
that man was our national export, and his kids are still doing that kind of work too. Like you'll see Robert Irwin, his son. Yeah, he's taken on the mantle. He's going out and wrestling crocs. We had a show where it was just Steve Irwin just going out and jumping on crocodiles to move them around or rescue them or something. Like we had a movie starring Steve Irwin doing that. It was great. So yes, we do that, thankfully.
Okay.
Have you ever eaten a crocodile?
I have
not like a whole one, but just a little.
Not
bit.
A whole one. No, I haven't. Unfortunately, I've had kangaroo. Kangaroo's good.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's really? Be a little gamey.
It is a little gamey. So you got to know where to cook it. Like we have kangaroo burger patties. We do that. But yeah, like kangaroos are surprisingly farmable animals because and I don't know if you know much about kangaroos, but like when they have a baby, it comes out the size of a peanut. It has to crawl out of the opening and up to the mother's pouch to sit in there and suckle on a teat in there to continue developing for another 3 months, which is another like really alien thing, right? You get born the size of a peanut and you have to figure out how to grow the rest of yourself, right? But yeah, kangaroos have this really unique ability where they can almost pause the development of fetuses in them if there's like a dry season, if there isn't enough food around. But because, we've had a whole bout of colonization over the past 200 years and we've done a couple genocides along the way and radically changed the landscape, there's all these farms and stuff out here where, all of a sudden there's always food for the kangaroos. So, you'll have kangaroos having like 8 to 10 babies a year, I think is the right number. And so, yeah, you just have massive population explosions of kangaroos where, like, you honestly can't get rid of them fast enough if you were trying to do that. So, like, you can eat kangaroos is basically what I'm trying to say. You don't have to feel guilty about that.
I had kangaroo once, but I was in Germany, and I did not like it. But then, I was in Germany.
It's not fresh.
Yeah. So pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard stories of like the Australian Army using, kangaroos for targets as they're firing artillery. So
Haven't
what
heard
you're
of that
telling
one,
me,
unfortunately. But yeah,
what's that?
we did have the Great Emu War in 1930s, I think.
Oh, yeah.
We
You
We
lost.
lost that, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, effectively, because the problem was like a bunch of farmers wanted to cull a bunch of emus, so they sent out a couple army units with jeeps with machine guns on. But the problem was like by the time you set up the machine gun, you could get maybe 1 or 2 bursts of machine gun fire off. You could fell about 2 or 3 emus. And again, emus are large creatures; they're sturdy creatures. Like one bullet isn't going to kill them; they're going to keep running. And run they do. Like emus are very fast creatures. They will keep up with a car on the highway running alongside it before jumping in front of it to turn into roadkill for some reason. Their brains are quite tiny. But the point is, like, they loose a burst of machine gun fire, and the whole flock of emus they were trying to target would be over the horizon before they've loosed the second one. So that's why they lost the war. They couldn't accomplish the objective. It's really interesting history. Like, it's something to point fun at, but like it's just weird,
So as Michael says, it sounds like you need more dingoes.
Oh yeah, I mean, and as you said, the dingo at my baby story, like that is a real sad story because it turns out a dingo did actually eat that baby, and it was
Oh, that's real?
Yeah, that actually happened.
Shit.
The problem was the poor lady who went to prison for it. No, that's all right. The poor lady who went to prison for it. She was essentially a victim of prosecutor essentially had a grudge, effectively, and like the jury didn't believe she was grieving correctly or something. So that's why they found her guilty, which is really disgusting because like there's no way to grieve correctly, right?
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, like leaving all that aside, like that is a real thing that actually happened. So. Again, dingoes very dangerous.
Your country's loaded with dangerous shit, though.
You have bears. Get out of here, bears!
Don't you have like the 10 most venomous snakes in the world?
Snakes and spiders, and there's all kinds of shit where you put your foot down.
Mess around with them, it's fine. You've got bears. You have bears wandering into suburbs and stuff.
Same thing with bears. Don't mess around with them, and you're fine.
Don't feed them. All kinds of weird shit wanders around in Alaska.
I saw a bear break into someone's house and attempt to play piano. Not well, but it was a good video. Yeah, you have bears. You have all sorts of snakes yourself. I'm sure. You have the alligators, and you have coyote. You have wolves. You have friggin' wolves. I heard of a town where they had to put in a county mandate that you couldn't have doors with like lever handles on it. They all had to be doorknobs because the wolves had worked out how to work the levers. Like, I don't know why we get such a bad rap. You guys have a crazy country.
Because I think everybody thinks it's everywhere there, and here wolves and bears are mostly out west in the mountains where wolves and bears fucking belong. And
you guys are those mountains, right?
Florida, where nobody cares.
Yeah, that's fair actually. Yeah, look, it's the same thing here. Like you aren't going to encounter like one of the venomous snakes in anywhere where people are generally. So like it's not as dangerous as it looks. I think the main thing is maybe a couple spiders might get the better of you, but again, like most of these animals don't want anything to do with you, so you can leave them alone. A bear, on the other hand, a bear will ruin your day. A moose, even.
Oh no, dude, I was going to mention moose. Moose are super dangerous, actually.
Yeah,
because they're very short-sighted, and they're so tall that if you hit, it's not like hitting a deer, right? You hit a deer, and you probably mess up your car a little bit, but you hit a moose head on, and your car will take out their knees, and then you have half a ton or 3/4 of a ton of moose coming right through your windshield, and people rarely survive collisions with moose because of that. And they're the only member of the deer species where their eyes don't glow, right? So like a deer, you might see their eyes real quick at night. And a moose, you don't see that. You just freaking see moose coming at your freaking face.
Yeah.
But again,
hey, you guys got the scary animals. I'm sticking with that.
Moose are pretty rare, right? I mean, aside from Alaska, you get the odd moose in Vermont and Wisconsin and Maine and stuff, but not a lot. And you don't have to worry about stepping on a moose. right?
I mean, if you step on a moose, you're going to have problems, though, right?
Well, yeah, there's
You're
a
very
story
short-sighted at that point.
Absolutely, you have some fodder for the next few days of social media posts if you step on a moose. Very much so.
Yeah.
I think that's a children's book. I stepped on a moose, but
that would be good.
I mean, you don't have to. I think that's what bothers Americans so much, or anybody, about Australia, is there's so much stuff that you don't actually see, right? Bears, moose, wolf, that's all shit you can see from a distance, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not
I'll give you that
any
point.
of it, but
I'll give you that point, but I'm still more scared of America.
I think you probably should be more scared of Americans.
Yeah, that too. I wasn't going to say it because, you know,
that's fine. We know who we are.
I don't want to insult my main market.
We know who we are. That's fine. And I do want to say today, before we wrap up, that part of the reason I was a little is that America has new Americans today. My wife, after more than 30 years of marriage, decided that she was going to become an American. So that's where I was all day.
Congratulations.
And doing that kind of thing. And it was a very nice kind of deal. But yeah, that's what I was doing today.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, 30 years is a long time to, I mean, I guess, yeah, I've heard the kind of path to kind of getting the citizenship is really tough, right?
Well, I mean, after 30-something years, it's not that tough, right? It's just a matter
I guess so, yeah, you're pretty embedded.
Doing the paperwork, really.
Yeah.
They kind of figure you know what you're about at 30. And she speaks the language, so, you know, it's...
yeah, probably helps.
Being English.
So it's not a sham wedding or marriage, you're saying?
No, I think we've crossed that border last year. With, you know, at 33, they said, okay, yeah.
Fine. It's real.
Hey, man, it's been like an hour and 11 minutes, so it's your morning wrapping up, and I have to
go get drunk.
Yeah, you got to go get on the piss. Yeah, see, that's a problem. Like I couldn't have a beverage with you. You know, I'm still drinking water like an idiot. I can't start day drinking. It's too early.
Never too early. Just like we're proving right now, it's 8 p.m. somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I should have. Oh well.
It's all good.
Next time.
Okay.
Well, best of luck to you with your books, and say hi to the folks in the break-ins for us, and you know, let them know that we're still sad that we can't be a member. That's all right. We get it.
Oh, so no, that's okay. You're honorary members as well. We've got a channel dedicated to calling out people for that.
We expect a T-shirt in the mail.
Oh, we should do T-shirts, shouldn't we?
You should.
We'll get there one day.
And I'm going to mention it to Bo on SFF Insiders that he should have like a tournament of 64 books, and they have a team of like 30 some odd reviewers now. So if they all just do, you know, two, just have randomly assigned 2 books, they get a winner, and then have the tournament.
I think for this tournament, though, Mike, I think you have to do it differently, right? Because in like the March Madness tournament, you have book A against book B, right?
Yeah.
And then you have book C against D, and then the winner takes the winner, right? So there are 2 books you've already read. So it would go very quickly after that. I think instead what you should do is A against B, and then A goes up against a brand new book.
Oh, right? It's a King of the Hill style thing.
Right. That way you're never going up against, well, I mean, eventually you might, but there's new content for judges to have to read against.
I like it. That'd be good. You know, you just have to make sure you I mean, it sounds kind of weird, but you can't pick the best book to go first. Like, you can't pick a book where you're like, yeah, I'm sure this will be the winner. You can't have that go first, because that'll be the only book the entire time you see. You need to have it kind of switch around a bit to be interesting. Right.
Yeah. So you almost have to take the books you think are going to do well and leave those out.
Just intersperse them
first, and then just start inserting them.
I like that. It's like a Royal Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah. We could do this.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Well, look, I volunteer as tribute to the start of that if you want. You can put one of mine first.
No, we're going to need readers.
A couple rounds. Yeah, that's true. I'm not one of those.
At the rate Jonathan and I read, we'll be doing this for the next 10 years.
Exactly.
Yep. Get
for
3
round
books
1.
But think of the suspense. Decade-long suspense. Who's going to win?
That's right.
Yeah.
This will go on the lifespan of your average cockatoo.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
Okay.
Right.
All right, Mike, you're talking to someone tomorrow, right?
I
You're on
am.
your own with that one? Who are you talking to?
Good question. Simon Carr.
Nice.
He's an American who lives in either Slovakia or Slovenia. I wish I could tell you I knew the difference between them, but I don't. And he is an artist. And I am totally unprepared. And most of my silly questions I have are for authors, so they will not apply to him.
Nice. Well, you got
So
24
I
hours
got
to
some work
prepare.
to
Can
do.
you do it? Yeah.
Do what?
Can you? Yeah, you got 24 hours to prepare. I think you can do it. Yeah, you'll be fine.
Well, actually,
You've got this, Mike. You're fine, man. You've got it.
Yeah.
I got 16 hours to prepare. But hey,
And
Get it
we
done.
are back with authors when? Let me
then Tuesday and Thursday we have Teresa Bailey and we have Anna Ellis next week.
okay, so we're not doing our two-a-days next week, right?
No, that's the following week of Death for Mike.
Okay, that'll be
Dirt.
fun.
I
Make it
have
sound
Comic
ominous.
Cons 2 straight weekends, and in between we're doing 9 interviews.
Wow.
Okay, so
That's
Yeah.
ambitious.
Teresa
Yeah.
Beale on the 15th, and Teresa is the author and artist who did Bald&Balding logo, right?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And Anna Ellis on the 16th.
Yes, she was a semifinalist in the science fiction competition this year.
Right. And then I've got 3 days to edit your book before we get to the two-a-days.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
Sounds good, man.
And Jonathan, we expect to have another book out by you by the time we're done with all this.
Honestly, it's coming to that. I mean, look, I got the cover reveal next week, so 15th of May. Keep an eye out for that. I'm hoping to have that book fully out by August. You heard it here first, I think. And then, yeah, like after that, the next book hopefully coming out by the end of the year. So it's an ambitious schedule, but I think I can do it.
Well, be sure to tag us when you post your cover on X or whatever, and
Yeah,
we'll read
whatever it's been called now.
yeah, just as well.
Nice, definitely will do.
All right. Thanks for joining us this morning, man.
Oh, it's been all my pleasure. Thank you so much. I've had a blast.
All right. Cheers.
Okay.
See you later,
And
guys.
wave